In 2008, this game defined sci-fi horror. I'm playing Dead Space for the first time in 2026 and asking a simple question: does it still hold up? Welcome back to the Asari Gamer, where we explore the art of video games one game at a time. As always, we'll look at this game through the lens of storytelling, world building, visual design, audio and atmosphere, and personal enjoyment. Dead Space corrupts systems, and there is no system more fragile than the human mind. Even the engineer can be rewired. You play as Isaac Clarke, a systems engineer sent to repair the USG Ishimura, answer the distress signal, find Nicole, and hopefully escape as one big happy family. While that sounds exciting, the story becomes truly interesting once it stops asking whether Isaac will survive and reach his goals, and instead starts asking what survival will cost him. I can't say more about the story because spoilers. But what I can say is that this game builds tension and furthers storytelling through environmental manipulation, darkness, power rerouting, fog, lighting, and constrained movement. However, once the encounter logic becomes visible, the illusion weakens. At one point, the game required me to shut off the lights to reroute power. Instead, I disabled the elevators, which triggered the ambush wave, and once I survived that, then I correctly restored power. The darkness was no longer suspenseful, it was procedural. I continued doing that throughout the rest of the game, and while it broke immersion, it also revealed something interesting: that Dead Space is most effective when it destabilizes the mind, not when it scripts the jump scares. The real achievement of Dead Space isn't just its monsters, it's the ship itself. The Ishimura feels engineered for long-term habitation. It has executive suites, propaganda posters, stores, bunks, labs, trams, check-ins, showers. It's a workplace first, a horror setting second. Even the ventilation system is purposeful. The Ishimura's maintenance shafts and service tunnels reinforce the idea that this is a working industrial vessel. When creatures emerge from the walls, it's invasive, and not at all arbitrary. The Ishimura doesn't just feel industrial, it's organized. Departments are color-coded, signage is consistent, green arrows point you in the direction you need to go. No yellow paint here because you don't need it. The Ishimura isn't just a setting, it's a system, fully built, fully functional, and fully terrifying. If world building establishes the Ishimura as a functioning system, visual design is what turns that system hostile. Dead Space leans heavily into industrial brutalism: exposed metal, layered plating, hazard stripping, and heavy mechanical forms. Nothing is ornamental, everything is engineered. The hallways are narrow, ceilings are low, and sightlines are restricted. Space is compressed intentionally, limiting peripheral awareness and forcing proximity. It's claustrophobic. Even space feels tiny. Texture does much of the storytelling. Blood-smeared warnings and frantic wall messages interrupt the clean industrial surfaces. The graffiti is reactive. It is the last attempt at communication and a way to tell you to remove those limbs. The necromorph designs follow that same philosophy of function over identity. Limbs elongate into blades, spines fracture into weaponized structures. Bodies aren't preserved, they're repurposed. Humanity is reduced to utility. Even in low light, each creature reads clearly in silhouette, a strong example of visual readability. When you see a necromorph with a red sack, you know it will explode. And since we're talking about spines, your own lets you know how much health you have left. Look at that blue glow. There's no need for UI here. It's all about the design, which fully immerses you into this world. While the visual design builds the ship's physical tension, the audio design reinforces its psychological tension. Dead Space relies heavily on industrial sound layering with distant metallic groans, ventilation hums, and structural creaks. Silence is used deliberately. Audio drops out just long enough to create anticipation before sharp mechanical stings or sudden impacts break it. The soundscape intensifies the fear instead of smothering it. One of the most effective shifts comes in hydroponics. The environment introduces jungle-like sounds. It's a tonal departure that expands the ship and reminds the player that life can exist. For a moment, the Ishimura feels natural rather than mechanical, until you have to reroute power and switch it off, back to surviving the necromorphs, toxic fog, and lack of oxygen. Once I understood the encounter patterns, the tension shifted for me. Instead of being terrified, the game gradually became a series of puzzles I needed to solve. That shift didn't diminish the artistry, but it did change how engaged I was in the later chapters. I found myself focused more on mastering mechanics than investing in the characters, which made the experience feel analytical rather than emotional. So, does Dead Space still hold up? Yes, it absolutely does. And that's why it gets a 4 out of 5 from me. Its design, language, environmental storytelling, and atmosphere remain cohesive, intentional, and terrifying. And that legacy is well earned.
I wish